If you're looking to start an IV therapy clinic and you need a set of financial projections, maybe for a potential SBA loan or maybe a potential investor, then you've come to the right place because we have built a financial projection template built specifically for IV therapy clinics. And I'm going to walk you through how to fill this template out and how it works, really get you ready to present to a potential lender or investor. I'm going to put a link in the description of the video below to this template. And as a thank you to you, if you stick around to the very end of the video, we are going to give you access to a coupon code that you can use to take a discount on this particular template. A little bit more background on me before I dive into the details of the template. My name's Adam Hoeksema. I am the co-founder of ProjectionHub. And before I started ProjectionHub, I was the executive director of an SBA lender for 12 years. We made over 1,500 SBA loans during my time there. And so I come to this work on the projection side, really with a focus on trying to help you prepare for an SBA loan. And so if that's going to be a good fit for you, and if you need help preparing your projections or just help on understanding the SBA process, please reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. We'd be happy to try to help you through that process. All right, with that, let's go ahead and dive into the details of this template. All right, so here I am on the At a Glance tab here. I'm going to start here kind of with the end in mind. So once you've filled out all of your assumptions, you're going to get this nice At a Glance with a number of different tables and charts and graphs that you're going to be able to use to put into a business plan or in a pitch deck for investors. You're also going to get a 5-year income statement summary, a 5-year cash flow summary, a 5-year balance sheet, and then also an income statement, cash flow, and balance sheet for each month, a monthly version for each of the 5 years. So that's kind of the output at the end of this process, but we have a bit of work in order to get there. So we're going to jump back over here to our input assumptions tab. Now, the first thing you need to know about this template is that every cell that's highlighted in blue is an assumption that you can change without breaking anything in the model. So we've got our company name, we've got a start date. We're going to assume this is a new startup clinic. Let's assume you're going to invest $25,000 of your own capital here. Let's put that in month 1. And then accounts receivable terms. So what this means is, when are you going to get paid? Now, since you're probably not going to be able to bill this to insurance, most likely, you're probably getting paid up front. You're probably having private pay. Folks that are coming to the clinic, they're going to pay up front. And so you would put 100% sales paid upon delivery, right? Now, if you did have terms with any customers that are paying you 30 days later, you could put a smaller percentage here that's paid up front and a percent that's paid on a 30-day net payment. On the accounts payable side of things, we assume kind of a 80-20 rule. You're going to pay 80% of your bills in the month you incur the expense. Maybe 20% you put on a credit card. You incur the expense today, but you don't have to pay that until next month. Inventory, you probably have a bit of inventory. We put a small inventory balance to start with, and just imagine you'll carry some small amount of inventory on the balance sheet, and that'll grow. If we set that to 10%, it's just going to grow as your sales grow. Your inventory balance will grow, which would be to be expected as well. All right, let's say you're going to rent some space and you need to do some leasehold improvements or renovations to the space. So we've got a $50,000 leasehold improvement here over a 10-year life expectancy. So maybe that's over the life of your lease. Maybe you have a 10-year lease. And again, I'm going to change all of these to just be set to month 1 of the model. So you've got $40,000 of equipment, $15,000 of furniture, and maybe $5,000 of signage. And then maybe we're gonna get a $250,000 SBA loan here. So we've got our $25,000 investment here for kind of that 10%, roughly 10% down payment. Got a 11% interest rate over a 10-year term on this. Let's look at our revenue tab now. So we start with this customer acquisition or patient acquisition here. We assume you're going to do some advertising. So we've got advertising budget of $3,000 a month. And then we have a cost to attract one new client of $100. Now, this is really going to depend on the effectiveness of your ad campaign. And so you're probably not going to know what this is going to be until you start. One thing you could do is talk to a local marketing company and say, this is the type of business we're planning to start. Could you do some research for us on what you think it would take in terms of a cost per click and what they think a typical conversion rate would be to get a new client to come in the door, at least to try the service, okay? So let's say this is, maybe you offer a first time is free offering, and that's how you get new clients in the door, or a substantial discount. So you're getting folks in the door here through this advertising campaign. Let's say you also get new clients from organic sources. This could be word of mouth sources. So then this allows you to project your total clients per month. And then what we assume here is that some percentage of those new clients are going to become regulars. So let's say 50% of them that try it say, yep, let's continue to do this. I'm going to become a regular client. From there, we assume a churn rate. So we assume some of those regular clients are going to churn or cancel or not continue to utilize the service. And so what we're calculating down here is our new clients plus, or I guess minus the ones that have churned from the last month to come up with our total number of active clients each month. So here's our total number of active clients that we expect to have each month. And then for those regular clients, we can set an average number of visits per regular per month. So we set that to 1.5. So on average, we're saying that these clients are going to come 1.5 times a month. We can also set a maximum daily client visit for the entire business. So let's say that's 32. Maybe we have 32 slots because we have, we put some assumptions in here. Maybe we have 4 chairs. We're open 10 hours a day. We think the utilization rate, we're probably never going to be at 100% capacity. So let's say we're at 80% capacity. That's how we kind of came up with this 32 slots. We're going to be open 6 days a week, 50 weeks a year. So that gives us a maximum number of client visits per month here of 800. And then this will project how many client visits we actually have each month. And that will ensure that that does not go over the 800 limit. So once we hit our capacity of 800, this is just going to level off. Now that we know how many client visits we expect each month, we need to estimate what services are those clients going to purchase. And so we can set our different services here, and then we can say what percentage of client visits are going to utilize each one of these different services. What's our average revenue? What are we going to charge per service? How long does each service take? So we're saying it takes an hour. Each one takes an hour. Now you can adjust these based on your specific plans. And again, if your average visit is, let's say it was 30 minutes, you might want to adjust this to be the number of visits per day. So if it was only 30 minutes, you could double this, right? It could be 64 as kind of a maximum. You can set an employee commission here. So if you want to pay an employee commission for these different services, and then you can have an average cost of supplies used during the service if you're utilizing vitamins or whatever the kind of cost of goods sold with the service here. You can set a growth rate in terms of the revenue. So that's kind of your inflation rate for both the revenue and your supplies cost. And then down here, we can set our employee base pay. So let's say we've got average weekly hours per employee of 40 with a minimum number of 2 employees, and they're going to be paid $50 an hour. And you can adjust this hourly rate. It's going to depend on your location and the regulations in your area, depending on, does it need to be an RN that provides the service? Does it need to be a nurse practitioner? And so on, right? Now we can also add in product sales here. So let's say some percentage here. So we're saying 10% of our visitors are also going to buy some sort of product. So we sell different vitamins, supplements, immune support kits, and so on, right? So we have different of those 10% of customers that are purchasing a product. This is the breakdown of what they're going to buy, the average price point, and the average cost. So that's really it on the revenue and cost of goods sold here. We can move on to our operating expenses, can set our various operating expenses as different categories here. So it could be general and administrative, sales and marketing, building expenses. If you want to add more categories, you can actually add up to 10 different categories that would then show up in this drop-down list. So feel free to add additional categories if you'd like more breakdown. And then you can set the expenses as either a fixed dollar amount, percentage of revenue, or a per employee expense. So let's say lots of these expenses like rent, maybe that's a fixed dollar amount, right? But some of your expenses might be a percentage of revenue. For example, your credit card processing fee could be 3% of revenue on average. And so we set that to 0.03, which represents the 3% of revenue. And finally, we have our salaries tab. So let's say we need to have, in addition to those 2 hourly employees that we already had on the input revenue tab, let's say we're also going to have a part-time medical director that's reviewing the work, and we've got an annual salary again for just a part-time person, $25,000, and then maybe we have a front desk employee as well at $35,000, and that is really it. You can set what month those positions are going to start. So if you wanted to say, well, we're not going to actually start the front desk person until month 13, for example, you could type in month 13 here. All right, that is really it. That brings us back to where we started on the at a glance tab. We can see what we're projecting right here is a small net loss in the first year, and then kind of swinging to a profit as you reach kind of your capacity level and build up your client base. So that's the basics of the template. Again, if you are going through this and you're like, you know what, I just need somebody to fill this out for me based on my plans. I know my plans, but I don't want to mess around with this template. We offer a service where we can fill this out for you and make sure that we get it in line with what, a lender or potential investor is going to be expecting to see. And be happy to do that. Typically, we do that in a 2 to 3 business day turnaround. So just reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com if you're interested in that. And like I mentioned at the very beginning, as a thank you for sticking around to the very end, if you go down to the description of the video below, you're going to find a link to a form. If you fill that form out, we're going to email you our most up-to-date coupon code so you can take a discount on this particular template. So that's our thank you to you. And if you found the video helpful at all, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be doing a lot more content for helping you get ready for SBA loans or presenting to potential investors. So I hope that's been helpful. Again, reach out to us if you have any questions. Thanks.